The real problem with being an idealist is that you can go through your whole life and everything's a contradiction. When you have ADHD, your whole life is a contradiction between what society tells you need to do to be successful and what you can actually accomplish. It doesn't match most of the time. You're just met with failure, disappointment. You're almost addicted to the disappointment. To the point where you isolate and you live by yourself. And then when you live you've taken away everything that you can think of from your life that's brought you disappointment, and you live in a 20-foot box, and you realize you can't really buy things when you live in a 20-foot box, right? And then even more than that, anything that you buy for yourself is meaningless. It doesn't bring you pleasure. And you think to yourself, well, maybe if I had somebody to share this with. And then you remind yourself instantly, it doesn't take long, that everybody you've shared this with has run away from you. Or you haven't been able to stay with them. Or you've failed, or you've annoyed, or you've kind of overkilled the relationship to the point that it's bad. And it's at that point where everything that you're going to get from this point on in your life is going to not hold a lot of meaning. And then you have kids, right? You have a divorce, and your kids bring meaning. They come over and they share these things with you. And those are your only shining moments, which is fine. But it just makes such a contrast to the times when you're alone. But you know you can't, you know you're not good for anybody, because you're a contradiction to begin with. It's funny how personable you can be, how much joy you can give to people in the moment. But that joy can't last. You can't keep that up. And because you can't keep that up to that optimal level, that people pleaser level, where you're constantly pleasing that one person in your life, then you feel like a failure. And that turns into a disease that eventually ends the relationship. Leads to anxiety and disappointment and self-deprecation and just everything that can't keep a good relationship going good. And your initial thought is to blame it on the other person real quick, but it's really you. And how can you not identify the problem as you, you know? After you've had enough failures where you are the problem, how can you not see that there's little to no hope for you? That it's better for everybody not to be around you? I think a lot of us can lie to ourselves and keep hitting that button, going to a new job with new people, getting a new stimulus from those people. You know, different people, different environment. It's exciting. The brain has to learn it, but guess what? It adapts and learns it so quickly. A couple months or less. and your brain is done with it. And what was once exciting becomes depressing. This is really the mind of an addict. What once was good, what once was a good stimulus, and for normal people should always be a good stimulus, becomes quickly a deterrent. Something that rides on your mind, that deepens anxiety, starts showing up, anxiety and depression. And you get paralyzed and you don't want to go to that environment again, because how are you supposed to keep up that level that you started out to begin with? You just can't. So because you can't keep that level of excitement up with the group that you work with, you start suspecting that they're going to fire you sometime soon, which is really hard to deal with. And why would you allow yourself to get fired when you can just quit and move to a different job? So that's exactly what happens, and your life becomes that very thing. An unstable life, and if you're in a relationship doing this, I'll tell you what, your spouse hates you and is going to divorce you very soon. Unless they're super special and super understanding. But even if you understand it, and even as an ADHD person, I understand my disease very well. My issues with my brain very well, and it doesn't matter. I can understand what's going on perfectly with my brain. It's dealing with it that I can't handle. It's just so depressing and drives on you, and the negativity is just so much. You just can't have enough positive in your life to overcome all of the negativity that's going to overflow and overcome that positivity. There's just not enough in this world right now. And it's so easy to succumb to the negativity. And I don't know what to do. Oh, it's so terrible. And people that have this know. And if you have it and you don't know yet, guess what? It's going to happen to you, and I'm so sorry. You're going to hit the lowest of low when you realize that it doesn't get better. And you're going to have to come to terms with that when things in your life stop satisfying. That everything in your life that life can offer physically isn't enough. And that your relationships aren't enough. And that nothing in your life satisfies. Is the hardest thing to come to terms with. And hopefully that you've found God or some higher power that you can confide in, because that's the thing that keeps you here after that point. You just run out of addictions in this life. There are more things that I could get addicted to, but I know the end result. So it's disheartening, and it makes me not want to pursue them because I know what the end is going to be. I can't just enjoy the moment. I already know the end. I already know that it's going to lead to disappointment, that these things won't satisfy me. And what's the point? Because it ends that way every time. And the only thing that doesn't do that really in my life are my kids. They'll never disappoint me. But I can't have them all the time now. And that's the problem. But I couldn't be with my ex to stay with them. So now I don't know what to do.